Rudy Giuliani, only one other personal attorney for a U.S. president had ever had his home and office raided by federal agents, and that was Michael Cohen in April of 2018. 4 months later, he pleaded guilty in federal court to 8 criminal counts, including tax evasion and campaign finance violations. He received 3 years in prison. Today, he is still on house arrest, and he joins us live. Michael, thanks so much for being here.
It's good to see you, Alisyn.
It's good to see you, too. What did you think when you heard the news of the raid on Rudy Giuliani's home and office?
Well, 2 things came straight to mind. First is that I'm no longer the only one. And 2, my parents always told me it's not nice to gloat, but Rudy, I told you so. I told you so.
What do you mean?
This is
what did you tell him?
Well, what I told him was that Donald Trump doesn't care about anyone or anything, that he will be the next one to be thrown under the bus. And that's exactly what's going to happen.
We now know, as you just heard from Paula, that 7 agents came to his apartment very early yesterday, and they seized his electronic devices, as they did with you. You predict they're going to find a lot of interesting correspondence on there beyond whatever the communications were with Ukrainian officials. Like what?
Well, who knows what Rudy was involved with? What we're going to find out is there are text messages, there are emails, there are different types of communication apps that the FBI knows how to reestablish, even if Rudy, who I don't think is technological, tried to delete or what have you. It doesn't make a difference. And what happens is they may be starting the investigation looking at things like the Ukrainian conversations between himself, Lev Parnas, and others. You may end up finding that Jared Kushner was involved, Don Jr., or a host of other individuals in Trump's orbit. And what happens then is that the Southern District, they end up expanding the probe. Look what happened, for example, with me. They took 14 million documents out of all of my various different electronics. Now, most of them, if not 10 million, belong to my wife and children, with the bulk of it being photographs from, the time my children 25 years ago were first born all the way to date. But they're going to find in Rudy's the same sort of thing. And that expands the investigation. And Rudy was always involved. I mean, Rudy's been shady for a long time. And what you're going to find is that it's going to expand the investigation into other areas that Rudy doesn't even possibly remember. Or if he does remember, he certainly didn't want it released.
I mean, you say that in your experience, they find things that you thought you had long ago deleted. I mean, how far back do they go when they seize your electronic stuff? Literally decades?
I mean, there were some things that I absolutely am certain were deleted. They weren't relevant to anything. Remember, I ultimately was charged as a result of the hush money payment to Stormy Daniels. And it expanded out into other areas where they then decided they wanted to talk about some of the contracts that I had with overseas entities. But my overseas entities were private companies. They weren't governments like with Rudy. You're going to start to see a multitude of documents. You may even find out that Rudy was involved with Bill Barr in the remand of me the second time to prison based upon a Donald Trump communication. We have no idea how expansive that this investigation is going to ultimately reveal itself because Rudy's an idiot. And that's the problem. Rudy drinks too much. Rudy behaves in such an erratic manner that who knows what's on those telephones or what's on his computers.
Michael, having been through this experience yourself, you've seen the tactics that the federal prosecutors use when they want when they want information, when they want you to give them some kind of information, not even just about yourself, but say perhaps about former President Trump. So what do you think Rudy is going to do? I mean, since you've been through this ringer, do you think that he would offer up information about President Trump? In other words, turn on Donald Trump?
First of all, you have to understand, there really is no relationship, nor has there ever been, between Rudy and Donald. Prior to Donald becoming president, Rudy didn't like Donald, and Donald certainly didn't like Rudy. So do I think Rudy will give up Donald in a heartbeat? Absolutely. He certainly doesn't want to follow my path down into a 36-month sentence for something as innocuous as a hush money payment, right, to a porn star. And I want to say it here and again, at the direction of and for the benefit of Donald J. Trump. What's ironic here is the fact that these tactics of the Southern District of New York in terms of bullying you into a plea deal were created by Rudy Giuliani going back 30 years ago. And it's just ironic that the tactics that he created for that office are now going to be employed against him in terms of making him plead guilty and certainly, at the least, turning over information about Jared, Ivanka, about Don Jr., about Donald himself, garbage can orbit of Donald Trump.
Going to happen next for Rudy Giuliani?
Starts to sweat more, and hopefully he's taken back because it's going to be everywhere. He's nervous. There's no doubt that he's nervous, and it's fair, and it's rightfully so that he's nervous because he knows the power of the SDNY is unlimited, and they use that power. They use it the way that they want to use it, and he's been involved in some very, very shady stuff, and now all of it is going to come out. And
what
it's a bad place
stuff,
for Rudy to be in.
But what shady stuff are you referring to?
Well, all of the relationships that he had with foreign countries as he was running around the world, basically telling people that I am Donald Trump's right hand, that if you need something, I'm the guy who's going to be able to deliver it for you. I mean, I remember sitting with Rudy many years ago, prior to even my to the raid on my home and my law office, and Rudy was talking to me about potentially joining with him to Giuliani Partners. And he was talking about the game plan and how it would give tremendous access, the proximity to Trump, and having the ability to go to world leaders and to travel the globe in terms of building a business. And, we spoke for a very short period of time about me possibly even joining him.
So, Michael, what advice do you have for Rudy Giuliani today?
Well, my advice to him, and look, he doesn't need my advice on this. This is the guy that squoze people in the 1990s very, very hard as he was the head of the Southern District of New York. He knows exactly what's coming down the road. He knows how to avoid what the ultimate consequence is going to be. And I believe that he's going to start talking 1, 2, 3, and he's going to do something that I didn't do. He's actually going to make an agreement with the Southern District of New York for a 5K1 agreement in order to cut him slack. I refused. I truly didn't believe that I had done anything, wrong. That I disputed, of course, the entire tax evasion or the misrepresentation to a bank.